Hey guys, welcome back to another segment of A2D, Agree to Disagree. I am Michael. As always, I'm here with Brian. And, we're going to go over week one daily fantasy. Golly, I can't.
DFS.
Daily fantasy, man. So we always do daily fantasy. We use DraftKings and FanDuel. Both platforms are a little different. BT, I think you use FanDuel, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I used DraftKings for mine. So just kind of you could see the difference in salaries, but we'll definitely let you guys go through our lineups and find a roster for either one. So uh, BT going into it again, it's PPR. So who did you pick as your quarterback?
Well, I started with I always go cheap, just like in my real drafts, dude. I always wait and I always try to find a cheap quarterback with a good matchup, and I went with that. I went with Trevor Lawrence against the Washington Commanders. He was one of the cheapest quarterbacks that you can find, and he's going against a Washington team that doesn't have Chase Young. They don't have much of a secondary, and if you can name a few players on the defense, you go right ahead. Um, but yeah, they're not that good. I don't see that defense being too good. So I think Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, man, they're coming off a good preseason where they were undefeated. I'm pretty sure that coach has got this team going on the same page now, finally. So hopefully, I think the Trevor Lawrence is going to have his redemption sophomore season. I think that he's my quarterback. I found a good matchup there, so that's where I went. We'll post our entire rosters in the comment section below, so you guys can find those there. But as far as QBs go, that's where I went. I went Trevor Lawrence. How about you? You went the goat way, didn't you?
Yeah, so we should have mentioned this is only Sunday games. So this will also eliminate all Monday night games. Sunday night I got Tom Brady. Last year when they played the Cowboys on opening night, I mean it was a barn burner. Godwin may not play, but I think he might play, just be limited. But I still think that they're going to throw the ball all over the yard. Cowboys like to give up yards in the passing game. Mike Evans is going to probably abuse Trayvon Diggs. So, yeah, I have Tom Brady at quarterback, and so running back. This is where usually you like to pay up a little bit. You want to have more talented running backs. You need the volume here. So, who are your volume guys this week?
My volume guys are my guys, man. They're the two guys I drafted, and I think they got some good matchups this week. I went Austin Eckler and Aaron Jones, two household names. You're used to them. They're veterans. They're improving offenses. They're in elite offenses. And the matchups they have, Aaron Jones, he's going to be going against Minnesota. He normally does pretty good against Minnesota, and Packers gonna have to score points. And right now, he's their most explosive player on offense. Is Aaron Jones. Um, he's going to get volume. He's going to get production, and he's going to be in potentially a shootout, and they're going to have to score points to keep up with Minnesota. So Minnesota's going to be at home. I could see them potentially winning that game. But like I said, Green Bay is going to have to score points. And to do that, they're going to have to use their most explosive offensive player. That's Aaron Jones. Same thing with Eckler. He's going against Vegas. I think that it's going to be another high-scoring game. So go with the guys. Go with the lead guys, and he always does good against Vegas. Pretty sure he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns against them in that finale last year, whatever it was. So Eckler, man, yeah, they're safe and they're proven. So that's the direction I went. They got good matchups, so I went with the proven guys against good matchups.
So I went Derrick Henry. So he's gonna be a volume.
Speaking of matchup,
Yeah, he's gonna be a volume king, and he's back, man. He's gonna come back, and he's probably gonna have 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. So Derrick Henry, and then I have
Texans. Yeah, he's playing the Texans, so
yeah. So I mean, you already have that division, and he always goes 200 against the Texans. So
yeah.
I have them, and then I have Travis Etienne. So I really do. I have high hopes for this kid. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is with this
There
one.
you are.
And he's going to get a lot of receptions. They're already saying that he's going to get a lot of targets. James Robinson is going to play, but I really don't know how much he is going to play. You know, anybody that watches like the injury report podcast and stuff like that, I watch one in particular called Fantasy Doctors, And he's a surgical, and he talks about how James Robinson may never be the same. So it's nice to have a young kid ready to rock, and so that's why I have Travis Etienne.
You called that on. You called the Chris Carson injury. Speaking of never being the same, and then he ended up retiring. I'm not calling that for James Robinson, but I mean, obviously know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I called the Carson one, man, is I have a similar injury. Actually, the Chris Carson one I called long before anybody else even talked about it. I have a similar injury, obviously not nearly as severe as an NFL football player, but I deal with it every single day. And as a NFL player, I mean, it's very risky. So, but yeah, no, as far as James Robinson concerned, I think it's going to hobble him all year, and he's at a serious case of re-injury. So, I like Travis Etienne a lot this year. Going into receivers, man, I have a very, very strong trio, and I think that they're gonna. This is where I'm gonna probably compete for like a top spot in Draft Kings. I have AJ Brown, who I think the Eagles are going to. They're going to come out hot. Yeah, they're going to introduce AJ Brown. He's going to probably be among the top 5 to 10 receivers in fantasy receivers this year in points.
I switched him. It's funny. I had him in my lineup, and I actually switched him a little while ago, maybe a couple hours ago, for Keenan Allen. So I had a couple $100 to play with. Keenan Allen was a little bit more expensive. And initially I had AJ Brown because I was thinking the same thing. They're playing the Lions. Mm-hmm. So, but the Lions, man, maybe it's because I was watching Hard Knocks. I made the switch. Like, they're gonna compete. But no, Keenan Allen, just because I think the Raiders, man, Raiders are good. They ain't going nowhere. I think in order for the Chargers to outscore them, they're gonna have to score points, and they're gonna have to move the ball. And I mean, Keenan Allen, that's the chain mover right there. That's Justin Herbert's guy. The downfield guy, the big play guy, that's Mike Williams. But consistency, man, Keenan Allen's gonna be consistent, and this is a game where I could see him getting like 8 catches, for around 100 yards, something like that. A nice solid game for Keenan Allen. I think the volume is gonna be more of a need for them, and then whereas Philly, I made that switch just because I'm like, can Philly run away with it? Can Jalen Hurts throw the ball to these other guys? Like, are they gonna try to force it to AJ? And you never know. I don't know. I made that switch. That was
I have to go back. I have to go back for a second because I have to make a correction. We were talking about how Derrick Henry plays. He plays the Texans. He doesn't play the Texans. He plays the Giants. Still a really great matchup for him. But I had to make that correction. And then AJ Brown plays Detroit, like you mentioned. I actually think Detroit's going to put up some points this year. So I think that's going to be a kind of a fantasy barn burner. But yeah, no, I definitely. My next receiver I have on my list is Mike Evans. I just alluded to it a little bit earlier about Trayvon Diggs. I think he's actually going to abuse this guy. Trayvon Diggs, man, he led the league in interceptions last year, but he gambled way too much. Mike Evans is a very crafty receiver. He's going to make him pay if he tries to gamble. And as far as jump balls, there's may not be a better receiver since Randy Moss that's good at jump balls than Mike Evans. So this is going to be a Mike Evans game with Godwin kind of shifty, questionable. Tommy's going to be looking his way a lot. And this is that stack, Tommy and Mike Evans. I love that, dude. And I'm not saying that just because I'm trying to impress you. I'm saying that because
I know. Trust me, you ain't you never try to do that. You're calling it like you see it. If anything, you don't want to do that. So the fact that you are is just showing how, you're just going with what you obviously believe it to be true. I hope you're right because I got that stack in my other league.
That might be the top stack this week. That might be the top way to go this week for sure. So you talked about Keenan Allen?
I got Keenan Allen, and then I got Michael Pittman and Darnell Mooney. Those are my 3 receivers. Pittman versus, you just corrected me, is the Giants. They'd let go of Bradbury. So if that's the case,
so the Colts play the Texans.
Okay.
The Colts play the Texans. Yeah.
There we go. Oh yeah. Okay. So he does play the Houston. So either way, Houston, who they got to stop him? So I think that the Colts, man, I think they're gonna score some points on Houston. So they're gonna put up around the 30 mark, I'd say. And Pittman, He's good for a touchdown, I think. And I watched that the Bucks played the Colts in the preseason finale, that third game, the dress rehearsal, and the starters played, man, and Matt Ryan was definitely looking Pittman's way a lot, and that was with Carlton Davis kind of covering him a little bit, and it didn't matter. Pittman was still doing his thing. He's going to get his targets. It's not going to matter the coverage. He's got Matt Ryan throw it to him too, so he's a big body guy. He just got to get that positioning. I think Pittman's in store for a big year, and he's got a good matchup. Who's going to stop him out there in Houston? So, to me, I think that I went Pittman.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about he's going to be matched up against Derek Stingley Jr. I couldn't get that out.
Welcome to the league, Rook.
Welcome to the league, man. Mychal Pittman's one of our, obviously, BT's major breakout player this year. Pittman's a big body, so let's just see how ready this kid is going to be to go up against a true number one receiver in our book, right? So I have Pittman Jr. also as my. I think it's a good matchup for him. He's way underpriced in both leagues.
Right,
he's not being priced correctly. He's going to have probably multiple targets. He should have a touchdown in this game, and he came on strong last year and towards the end, and he's got a better quarterback, a more accurate quarterback now. So not to keep knocking Carson Wentz, man, but Matt Bryan is an upgrade over Carson
Big
Wentz.
time.
So we're agreeing on wide receiver, and as I know, as we agree on tight end also, right?
Right. Well, my third receiver is Darnell Mooney.
Oh, Darnell Mooney.
I didn't get to get him in there, and he's gonna. Speaking of targets, he's gonna get probably double-digit targets every game. He's crafty. And just thinking back, I had Russell Gage on my fantasy team last year, and he kind of worked out that San Francisco secondary, and he's a smaller guy like Mooney is. Mooney's even better, I would say. Mooney, and especially getting deep, Mooney can take the top off. San Francisco secondary is, if they can give Fields a little bit of time, and even then he can buy his own time because he's going to connect. I think he's going to hit on a few with Mooney, and just the volume alone. He's going to throw to Kmet and Mooney. And Mooney's number one. He's going to look to that first because that's a guy that can take you deep and hit a home run on any play. So he's going to be looking to him first, and then check down to Kmet. And if he's not there, probably tuck it and run or check down to Montgomery, something like that, But those are your guys in that offense that are going to get all the volume. So I think the volume's going to be there. The matchup is pretty good. And like I said, the big play potential. So as a wide receiver 3, I think he could be pretty solid this week.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the more underrated players. Let's see if Justin Fields has the time to give him the ball. If Bosa can get there, Nick is one of the best guys, and Tevin Jenkins is out. Like they're pretty banged up on their offensive line already. The Bears are probably going to be the I hate to say this, but probably going to be the worst team in football. So they're going to be trailing a lot, so they're going to need to throw the ball a lot. So yeah, Mooney is going to be their top guy, and Justin Fields loves him. So that's a good one right there. So going into tight end, man, I think we both have Dalton Schultz.
Yep. The price on him is ridiculous. Like he's way down there. Zach Ertz was more than him. To me, he's the clear-cut number 5, maybe even 4 tight end in fantasy this year. He should be up there. And then matchup-wise, I don't know about matchup because we got Antoine Winfield and Logan Ryan, Mike Edwards. Our safeties aren't bad. They're not great, but they're not bad. They're solid. And our linebackers are pretty fucking good too. So, I mean, against the tight end, well, normally not bad, but I think just the volume alone, and because they got CD who's going to get his looks, but he's going to get doubled. You can't really double a tight end. Plus, in the middle of the field, it's hard to double guys. That's where he operates. And Dak loves him, man. Dak has a connection with Dalton Schultz. So just on the price, dude, I would look at that price. I saw where he was at. I'm like, oh well, duh. This dude is that just because it's him, almost matchup proof, honestly.
He's going to see top 5. He's going to see top 5. As far as tight ends, top 5 in targets, very, very easily could score top 5 as tight ends. 2 years ago, he got his shot when Blake Jarwin went down. Blake Jarwin's there, and they will run double tight end sets, but no one's scared about Blake Jarwin taking. This is going to be probably the number 2 option in Dallas. You talked about matchup.
Until Gallup gets back. Yeah.
I still think Dalton Schultz will be. Yeah. And then a guy that the only other player that I could see, because Tampa's really, really tough against the run, and they historically have been over the last couple of years. So I don't think Zeke's going to be a good option this week. So it's going to be two guys in Dallas making plays this week. It's going to be Dalton Schultz and Tony Pollard in my book. So Dalton Schultz is for price, man. You have to go that route. I mean, you don't want to find anything cheaper. That's just a very solid tight end right there. Now
Right.
flex.
Logan Thomas was more expensive than him in my
ridiculous.
FanDuel, and he's questionable. Like I'm like, how is that the case? You got to go Dalton Schultz.
He's on the bottom side of questionable too.
Right. So what would you say? What's the next flex?
The flex, next is flex. And I know we're both going with upside here.
I went with value because he's cheap. Ramondre Stevenson was way down there on running backs for me. He was very cheap, and they're going to have to be playing catch up, I think, against the Dolphins. He's going to be on the field a ton. I think he's going to, if they get, he's going to score. I think Ramondre's going to score and have like 5 catches. Ramondre Stevenson, man, he's going to show everyone that he's a flex play all day long, all season long. He's going to be worth monitoring, definitely. So I'm going Ramondre.
I had to go cheap my last 2 positions because I actually have a pretty stacked lineup, up top. But flex, I had to go with because of Allen Lazard being doubtful, I went with Romeo Dubes. So he should step in, and there's a lot of talk behind this kid, right? So
yeah,
I really don't know.
38% target share in preseason.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing with Rodgers, so everybody's saying like this could be Rodgers' new favorite guy, and he could be the next. I know that Aaron Rodgers likes Allen Lazard, but Allen Lazard is not playing. Dubes is only $3,000, and get him before the Allen Lazard news comes out.
Got a good matchup
tomorrow. Yeah,
he's got a real good matchup.
No, he doesn't. But I mean, he's going to see some targets. He's going to get some playing time tomorrow. I think he's going to get playing time over Christian Watson even. Sammy Watkins, he's a week 1 wonder. Somehow this guy always comes out and scores week 1. But I think Romeo Dubes has a chance to at least get you double digits. And at $3,000 where you're trying to get value for your money, I had to. So Romeo Dubes is my flex. And then defenses, I'm kind of embarrassed to say mine, but I'll give you my reasoning after you go with yours.
Mine was the Colts. It's against the Texans. It's the Colts defense. They got, like we already talked about them before when I picked, or on the other show, when we picked the Colts as my 3 seed and division winners, man, that defense is. They added Stephon Gilmore. They got DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard, Kenny Moore. Playmakers all over that defense, man. They get turnovers. I think the Colts defense, and they're playing against Houston.
Yeah.
Houston's underrated. Davis Mills is actually solid. Damian Pierce is good. And they got, what's his name?
Cooks.
Nico Mullins, Brandon Cooks. Yeah, receivers. So, and then your boy, Brevin Jordan at tight end.
He's going to catch a touchdown tomorrow. I want to put money that he's going to catch a touchdown tomorrow. Brevin Jordan has been my ultimate deep sleeper at tight end for months now. He's going to catch a touchdown. Yeah, he's going to catch. I talked about him last year. He is going to, and he's got a good last.
Someone's got to catch the ball. I think that what's his name, Nico Hollins or Mullins, something. I forget his name.
Nico
Collins. Yeah, I think he's going to be. He's pretty good.
He's a big guy.
He might be a guy that people might be trying to get after next week.
Rounding out my team, man, I had to go really cheap. I had the choice between like 3 defenses, and it's the Washington Commanders. I think they're going to get abused, but here's the thing about why I picked this over the other 2. Trevor Lawrence led the league in interceptions last year. At least he tied. This actually was a surprising stat. He tied for most interceptions with Matthew Stafford. I didn't know that was a stat. But yeah, he led the league in interceptions. He led the league overall in turnovers. So the Commanders might be able to get some interceptions. That's going to be a pretty ugly game for the most part. So there might be some sacks, and there's going to be some points scored, but I don't think there's going to be anything too crazy. I think, if I'm not wrong, I think that game's in Washington, so I might get a little bit of help there. But as far as defenses, like is it the defense you want to go? No, but at $2,500, I didn't really have a choice.
We're gonna have to. That leads me to our approaches here because we just went over our rosters, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna post our rosters in the comment section. For those of you that remember last year, I told you guys to get Gabe Davis in your DFS, and he scored 4 touchdowns in the playoffs. I'm still using the winnings from that money to play this week. I got a couple different lineups in there. I play in lineups. What I always do, I always do a head-to-head matchup because I feel like my chances of winning those are much better. So I always do at least one head-to-head so I can try to get my money back. And then I enter 1 or 2 in some of the bigger ones to hopefully try to win some bigger money if your roster goes off. But the way I build my roster is actually I always start, like I said, I started with Trevor Lawrence, and then I think after that I went Ramondre. I always look for the cheap guys that are going to have good matchups that I think I can get away with getting in my lineup. And then for what's left, I go with the big guys. Like my flex spot, I ended up putting, I think it was Aaron Jones, and that was like the last spot because like I said, I start with the cheap guys because I don't want to be left in a situation to where I feel I'm having to put somebody in that I don't really feel comfortable with, kind of like my boy
defense.
does. So that's how I go about building my DFS. Man, but like I said, man, stick with us all year. This is what we do. Mychal put me on this was like a year or 2 ago because I never even used to play this stuff, and I'm like, he put me on the DFS, and it's a good way to make some little extra money each week. Like I said, I won last year. I'm still going off with some winnings. I put in like $10 last year in the middle of the year, and I think I'm at like $50 or $60 right now, and it just kind of keeps fluctuating. But now I haven't had to put any extra money in. So if you guys are losing money, maybe you might want to watch some A2D because we're going to be giving you guys DFS each week.
Yeah, you talk about approach, man. My approach is a little bit different. I always stack my DFS lineup. So I find the stack that I like the most and I build around it. So this week I've been talking about it. I talked about it in the last podcast, the Mike Evans and Trayvon Diggs matchup this week. I think that's a really bad matchup for Diggs. So I like Mike Evans a lot. So who's his quarterback? Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's not that expensive. He's probably like the 9th or 10th most expensive quarterback, and that's a steal. And you look back at week 1, was it week 1 last year, week 1 2 years ago? That matchup was a barn burner, and Tommy scored like 35 fantasy points. I kind of expect him to do that again. Derrick Henry, I mean, he's going to be a volume king against the Giants. So, and then AJ Brown and Michael Pittman Jr. as my other 2 backs. I had to go cheap at flex, but Romeo Dubes with the injury that could very well pay off for me. Get in the end zone, and we're looking at good money. The Commanders, man, I mean, you talk about not wanting to play someone there, but it's a defense. You get 10 out of your defense, you get 7 out of your defense, like you could still win some money in DFS. And Trevor Lawrence likes to turn the ball over.
Then if we get negative,
they're not going to get negative against the Jaguars.
Washington, man, I got Trevor Lawrence. That's why he's my quarterback, man. He's about to fucking throw 4 touchdowns.
But I'm sure you probably paid $5,000 for $4,700 for your defense. I'll take that extra $2,000 and up my lineup somewhere else along the line and probably get more fantasy points that way.
No, actually, the Colts, dude, I was surprised with how cheap they were. They weren't even with the matchup they had. I thought that they were going to be more expensive, but they weren't up there. I never like to. Now you mention it, I never like Jonathan Taylor was 10,000 something, and even though he's got a great matchup, I didn't do it. I never like to pay up and go for the top most expensive guys because I always feel like I can find value somewhere else. And
I think my options were the Commanders, I think the Lions, and I don't even remember the last one, man. They're not even that important. So
Lions are going to shock people offensively because they're going to be able to score points, but their defense is still. I know they got Aiden Hutchinson, but they still got some room to grow.
Yeah, and they're playing the Eagles. The Eagles are going to be good offensively, but
right.
But yeah, that's how we approach. I'm a little bit more aggressive in DFS. I netted about $1,200 last year over DFS, so not anything too crazy. But there's weeks where I hit that $200, $300 threshold in a lineup on a $20 team. So I go a little bit harder in the paint, but it's paid off for me over the last couple of years. I've won leagues. I've won tournament leagues before. So just depending on how comfortable you are with how you want to go about your setup, BT's pretty damn good at this, you know. And if you're not a gambler, the head-to-head is a perfect way to get introduced to DFS. And maybe me and you need to have some head-to-head here on some FanDuel. But yeah, that's the way we go about it. And both lineups are extremely solid. They're both money makers in my book. They're both going to make money for you, just depending on how hard you want to go and how much money you want to spend. Just, you know, again, his is on FanDuel, so the money's a little bit different. The lineups are a little bit different. News is a little bit different. And then on DraftKings, it's a little bit more looser, and I like DraftKings a little bit better. They're a little bit more up to date, but that way you guys know what team is on what. But we'll post them down below, and you guys let us know who you think is the better team. Let us know what you're comfortable on our teams, what you would change. Leave some comments below. And then set your DFS lineup. Again, these are only Sunday. There are Sunday and Monday games we didn't really get into, but these are for Sunday tomorrow. Set your lineups and stay tuned because we got some more content coming up. So, BT, you got anything left?
That's it now. You just hit it, man. DFS is what we've been doing. You put me on it like a year or two ago, and we've been doing it ever since. I think I need to get a little more aggressive, man. You make me sound all weak over here. I got to start putting some more bets in here, but I already got a couple fantasy leagues too, so I'm just like, I'm just trying to, you know, make it fun, keep it light. But man, I guess I'm gonna have to up it up.
Man. Not everybody, not everybody wants to put.
No, but I mean, I've been winning. It's like if I would have just bet a little bit more, then who knows? You know, you never know. So I think I'm gonna up it a little bit, maybe get into a little richer pot here. So we'll see. But that's our lineups. You know, we went over both of ours. We'll post them down below, like we already said. Stick with us all year. This is just week 1. We're just getting started. Make sure you guys subscribe, and we're going to keep coming with you. We're going to give you a DFS lineup every week. We're going to give you starts and sits and fantasy every week. We're going to give you weekly predictions, all that. NFL, that's our season. We're getting started. We're finally here. Football is back. Like I said, subscribe. Stay tuned. We'll catch you guys on the next one.